Greetings, folks. This is Bob from Daily Enduring Truth, and I'm happy to be with you today. I'm going to start off by saying that when you read the Bible study this week, it's a little bit short. And part of that was because we spent a lot of time today celebrating the life of a dear friend. I had met her, so long ago during years when her child played chess. Many years ago, I used to be involved with scholastic chess, and her son was one who played. And so I'd gotten to know her and thought she was a really nice person. Then she joined the sign language and interpreting program at our local community college. And now my wife is actually the director of the program. But at that time, she was teaching in there. And we got to know her a little bit because of her work among the deaf. And she ended up later interpreting at the church where today's funeral was held. Part of that because of the training she got at our local community college, which is Del Mar College. And finally, I got to know her because she was the business manager for our local Christian radio station. And I found that out when I showed up one day because we support that station, KBNJ. And she walked out and was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were here." So, but she was just a beautiful lady, a lady of God. And it was interesting because my daughter was there to help interpret. If you know the story of what my wife has been going through, you'll understand why she didn't interpret, but she actually ended up interpreting some. I'll talk about that. I'm going to tell you, I am a proud father and husband. I saw my daughter interpreting, and boy, when I watch her, I tear up because she does such an amazing job of conveying the message of Jesus Christ, of talking about the grace of God as she interprets what's being said. I wasn't a bad interpreter for a while, but she is just so beautiful in the way she expresses herself and the way she uses the language. Now, obviously, she had a lot of help from her mother because my wife is an amazing interpreter. She's one of the best in our local state, and it's not just bragging. You can look at the certifications. But she's just she has blossomed and she's learned from other places as well. And I'm so excited to see how God is using her. During this time, our deaf ministry would have fallen apart if it were not for my daughter being able to take over while my wife recuperates from her surgeries and her broken bones. Um, but it's just amazing. And then my wife actually ended up interpreting because one of the deaf members of the church wanted to speak at the funeral, and Lucy, my wife, uh, voiced for her. And I am so proud of my wife because she does do an amazing job. And she made this young lady, sound in English like she expresses herself in sign language, in American Sign Language. And so often it's easy to, if you don't understand the language well, to mess up and make the person sound not so smart. And my wife makes the person who's signing, she makes them sound as smart as they really are. And this young lady is a really bright young lady. So that's a lot of personal stuff today, and I apologize for that. The Bible study is short. All we talk about really is the cleansing of the temple. And it's the filling of the Markan sandwich, and we'll finish that Markan sandwich information next week. Um, you know the old saying, what would Jesus do? And so often we think of that in terms of nice, sweet love and care and grace. And it's important to remember, as I've seen in memes that's going around sometimes, where it says, "What would Jesus do?" Don't forget that overthrowing tables and clearing out the temple is within the realm of possibility. And I'm not saying that as a threat. I'm just saying that sometimes we need to recognize that Jesus could be angry. And he was always angry at religious leaders who were leading people astray. There's never a time when Jesus was angry at one of the so-called little people. He loved and cared for the people. He would extend amazing grace, and he still does that to everyone. And if he were to come back today and be angry at anything, He would be at those people who are church leaders who are using their position to take advantage of others. And so we know that Jesus loved and cared for all people, and his anger came about when he saw a house that should be used to pray in turned into, by the leaders, a house where they preyed on people. And I know it's a bad pun, but that's what I saw. Anyway, we have an amazing God, and I hope that you continue to love and worship him. You'll have a great week. This has been Bob signing off.